Carsten won the World Cup, but is he going to play the World Championship against Ding Liren? After saying that he doesn't like to play classical chess anymore. For the case he doesn't, here are some amazing games he played with him before. First position, can you guess the move? It's rook to c3. He can't move his queen because we have d3 and we take the queen. He also can't move his queen to f1 because we can take the knight. After taking our bishop, we can push pawn, it's check. After moving his king, we can take on h5. Here's how mate would look like. We can push our g-pawn, and then check, and then another check, and then we take the rook, and we have this checkmate. That's why after rook c3, white simply took the rook and lost immediately. We can take the piece, and after this, white resigned. So what do you think? What did Magnus decide to do in this game? To sacrifice. And that's e5. Look at now, if black takes with a bishop, we have knight to e7, and we attack both queen and king. But what if he takes with a pawn? Then we can push d6, and we are promoting. He still can take because of knight e7, and then we can also take the queen. That's why he needs to play something else, for example rook a8, and now we still play knight e7, and after taking, we can take, and black can't do anything. For example, if he plays h5, we simply develop our rook, and after, for example, g6, we come to d8, and after some move, we can promote another queen. What did Magnus do in this game? He sacrificed rook, and after taking, we can take. If I decide to take our piece, we can simply play queen b1, we are threatening mate, that's why a king g2, and we push our pawn. So now white has an idea, and that's to give checks. We can prevent that. That's why we play queen d1, and after some bishop d3 to just try to check again, we can simply give check, and another check. So now that we're safe, we can simply push pawn. If check comes now, we can play queen f8. What did he sacrifice in this game? Of course, his rook again. I should have called him God of Sacrificing Exchange. Can you guess the move in this position, please? Rook e5. I mean, come on, that's not possible. So he simply sacrificed his exchange because he saw that that will be winning in an endgame. I mean, come on. White of course took and was happy to take it, and then black took again, and in 40 moves we came to this position where he won in endgame. White had to sacrifice his own rook, and then Magnus won this rook endgame. Now you can see why he's such a good player. Okay, this one is not so hard. This is typical sacrifice. It's still sacrifice and it's still Magnus Carlsen, but here simply bishop h6. If black takes with a pawn, then we can take, and then we have amazing attack. First bishop, then we have to take this pawn, then knight, and after that we can simply take, and we bring our rook to the play. All our pieces are playing except of rook on a1, but who cares? So now we can simply take rook and checkmate. That's why in this position black tried and played f5, after what white exchanged queens and won with a pawn up. So here's another game where he promoted his pawn. What a surprise! So d2, and after promoting our queen, we can play queen to e5, and now he has to play queen to e1, and now there are mate threats. White king can't move, so we can play whatever we want. Of course he had to play something, and then queen to c3. If he takes, we can take and promote in the next move, but if he plays something like queen to e2, then checkmate. I mean, he can play his queen here, but you know, it's the end. So watch till the end to see if he sacrificed and promoted again. We can also do guess the move. What do you think? What did he play in this position? Tip, it's a sacrifice. It's bishop to g4. After taking, we take pawn, and after this, we first play rook to b2. Of course, if he moves his queen, we can take bishop, but he plays this one, and we play queen to e3. White doesn't have any possibility. This was also a blitz game, so it's okay, but here he resigned. When I think like that, to take on g4, it's not so hard, but it's also not so easy. You have to have an eye on a pawn that's been protected by another pawn, and then sacrifice your piece. On the other hand, his opponents, even Ding Liren, world champion, they simply missed tactic. So look at this one. He played knight to a4, and Magnus simply played bishop x6 and won the game. So, guess the move. What did Magnus sacrifice in this game? Of course, his rook. But in the previous game, that was this f1 rook, and now he thought this a1 rook was useless, so let's sacrifice him. He simply took on f6, and after taking, he left his rook. So like this, and of course black took. First, look at this diagonal. It's amazing. We can already see that some kind of attack is going to happen, and that's exactly why he played f4. And then he played g4, but he also pushed e4. Look at this one. Now he has 3 pawns in the center. It's time for our queen and to give some kind of checkmate. Our knight is also attacking on f5, on h5, so it can be dangerous on g7. Of course, black tried to protect himself. e5 is very important sacrifice. Black takes, he plays f5, and then there's no rook to e5. So our queen can safely come to g5, which is also what happened. Of course, black tried to play e4 and then to play rook to e5. It doesn't matter, it's already too late. We can simply push d6, and after this one we simply take knight, and we don't even care about that mate. We take on g6 and we push d7. Promoting pawns is Magnus's thing, so let's just do it. And after this one, he simply took everything and won endgame. He tried to play something like this. Of course, white took, and rook to e8, after what, bishop c6, and black resigned. He can try to play king to e7, but we have another pawn on the other side. Black simply plays something with his rook, and we are promoting one of our pawns for sure. Oh no, sorry, that's a wrong game. Wrong game. This one is easy. Can you find mate in 4 moves? First move is bishop to g6, so the black doesn't have this f7 square. Let's look at all mates. First, if he plays knight to g5, which also happened in game, then we played queen to c8, and after king e7, checkmate. But what if he plays queen to e6? Then we have check, and then we have another check, and after this, checkmate. The last possibility is to move his king to g8, then we have check, and then we have another check, and checkmate. Let me also show one ending, not that we are only looking at tactics, because Magnus is famous for his endgames. Here he saw that his knight is only looking good, but it's useless. So his first move, knight to a8, then knight to c7, and after some moves he has to take and he has to block the pawn, but after that knight to a6, and he took pawns, so it's time for knight to b4, and then knight to d5, and pawn is hanging, so white resigned. I am not even gonna talk about what happens if he takes, because it's one pawn ending, but that's too easy. And then he got lucky again. Of course, his opponent blundered, and then he played rook to c1, and won rook or queen. On king to g2, we take rook. I'm starting to think that Ding is not the best player in the world, because he is missing the simplest tactic. Look at this one, d7, and after knight takes, bishop to c4. Not only the rook is hanging, but we don't even want to take the rook, because we can play queen to e7, and we take the whole piece. And also bishop to f1, bishop f1 is not that simple. Maybe Ding was hoping for that, because he saw some counterattacks and some chances, but I don't know. Queen to e7, and it's lost. And this is typical God Magnus Carlsen, because he is simply ignoring his rook, ignoring his pawns. Let's just attack. Bishop to h5. First we activate our bishop, and then we think about pawns and rooks. Knight to c5, and then Magnus playing queen to d4. This doesn't matter, of course he can't play it on b3 right now, because of the queen, because after queen e6, Magnus doesn't even think to move his rook or his queen. He simply plays bishop to g4, of course he's attacking queen, but after knight to b3, he moves his queen, black moves his queen, and do you know what Magnus does? Not moving his rook. He simply takes on b5. I'm thinking that black was so scared, he didn't even want to take everything Magnus gave. So Magnus played e6, and after this, it's already looking very dangerous. So white took another pawn, and now black took a rook. After this one, all of our pieces are playing, you already know the deal, the rook is coming, and it's game over. This is actually where the game ended. Ding saw that in every move everything is threatening, bishop to c6, there are mates all around the board, so he didn't even bother to play this and to embarrass himself, so he resigned and prepared for the next game. I was watching some videos where they said that Magnus is good at in all games, classical, rapid, blitz. But his opponents, for example, the ones that are the best in classical chess, they can play other stuff. That's maybe the reason why Dink is blundering everything in blitz, in rapid so-so, but in classical chess then he is very good. Look how he won this game. Of course he could win normal way, but he had to sacrifice pawn, because why not? And then after black took, he played f4, and then f5, and it happened that his opponent blundered, because king f7 is not so easy, but after king to h7, we simply play king to f6, and we promote our pawn. The thing about rapid, here Dink played f6, and forgot queen h7. After what, he can't move his rook, and white is simply winning. Just to mention that after bishop to h5, we have this double check. If you know the chess channel where they said check, check, checky, check, that's it. And if he tries to play something like knight to b3, we take rook, of course. And after knight to a1, look at this move, queen to a8, and he can't take queen because of course, if he takes, we play knight to d7. Check, check, checky, check. Guess what black played in this position? He took on a3. This is a sacrifice, but not very good one, because white can take because of knight to c3, and then we take rook. So that's why f5, counterattack. It's no problem, we attack even more. Knight to c3, check and attacking rook. But here's the problem, white can't take here because of checkmate. After this one, queen to b2. So he has to play king to a1. But you know what? Black doesn't take. He plays bishop to c5. White saw that it's very critical, so he thought I have to counterattack. So if I don't do it, I'm simply going to lose. So that's why he took on e6, and Magnus, just unbothered, castled. So I'm safe, and now you're going to see. Bishop took on c4, rook took on c4, of course he still didn't take the rook. And it's funny that everything is hanging. Knight, bishop, but white doesn't really have a choice. He can't take here, because we can simply take rook. Then he can take here, because we can take here and we have checkmate. So he has to play something else. He moved his rook and hoping to take in the next move. You know what black did now? He sacrificed again, bishop to b2. If rook takes, for example, we have a queen to b6 and then comes queen to a5. So he can't do that. He had to take with a king. After that, there's b3. Simply protecting also those squares. Every time white sees that there are problems in his position, he simply plays f4 or e4 or something, so now he took. And of course, black took with the queen. It's not bad to put a queen on this position. After all this pressure, and this was a rapid game, you guessed it, white blundered. He simply took with knight on b3, after what black played rook to b4. And there's no move for white. He's losing his knight, he's getting mated, so he decided to resign. And this is the last game for this video. Black attacked the white's rook, and do you know what Magnus did? He left his rook, he played f6. After king to h7, he played bishop d3, and black resigned. But Dink is not so bad. Dink also won 20 games against Magnus Carlsen, and I covered them all in the last video. So watch that video and see you soon.